Because what we're attempting to do is to recover from historical amnesia. We've forgotten who we are. And not only have we lost our memory, but we've lost many of the artifacts that represent our historical experience. The British Museum probably has the greatest collection of African artifacts. I don't know who has stolen more, whether it's the British Museum or the Louvre in Paris. But there was no museum in the world that had a Nubian or ancient exhibit from Kush or the Sudan, because Nubia and Kush were in current-day Sudan. There was no collection in the world that had a permanent exhibit before 1992. So there's permanent artifacts now on display at the British Museum from old Nubia. They had the artifacts for many decades. Gallery, there's a couple of ways that you can enter, but it's best to enter this way because, as you can see, most of the artifacts are facing towards us. And it kind of gives me the feel of how you would enter an ancient temple. Because the ancient temple is lined by sphinxes on the left and the right, and all initiates in the great festivals and ceremonies would always come right through the main temple entrance, which is always guarded by huge statues such as what you see here. So you can see the craftsmanship. You can see the high quality of craftsmanship. And this image of Amenhotep III is actually from the 18th dynasty. So the gallery is not totally in a chronological way. It kind of is and it isn't. It's best to have a collection which is laid out in a chronological way. In other words, a strict timeline so we can see how the culture developed over time. But the British Museum, they have a lot of African artifacts, but there are, as they say, gaps in their collection. And because of those gaps, they can't really show it in a chronological way. This is why sometimes you might have an image from one era next to an image from another era, and so it kind of causes some confusion, because if you actually see the dynasties, Dynasty 1 all the way through in a chronological way, it tells a story in itself. So these are the, just look at the craftsmanship here. And these statues of Amenhotep III, they follow the rules. Whether it's the wig, where his hands are, on his lap, if you can see the belly button, which is obvious. He has he has a tail between his legs here, which is very subtle, and also he has on his strap, you see the false beard. The beard is a symbol of rulership, not only in Egypt, but it's an African standard. If you have a ruler, a pharaoh, a chief, or a king, the rule is that they have beards. This is how you can tell their stature. Even high officials have beards, whether real beards or false beards. The beards is a symbol of authority. This is what you see here. And now, if this was really a temple that we were entering, these statues would probably be about 60 feet high. I didn't say 16, I said 60. So they would be quite a bit larger than this, but it is laid out as it would be if we were going to enter a temple. So this is a family scene. You don't find, like in Europe and America, you don't find, like in America, you can never have the president shown with a lady. Never. He cannot be shown with his wife in a picture that's official. Never with his wife or mother. They're usually separate, but here they're together, and you see that. This would be very nice to see all the colors intact. Very nice. This is Amenhotep I, 18th dynasty. Now notice that he has his arms crossed across his chest. He would have had the crook and the flail in both hands. Brother, how tall are you? 6'2". Brother, could you verify that there's holes? There's holes that would have represented the emblems inside here. How about that one? There are holes. It's a rule. There's no gesture like this without symbols of authority. So when we see the Ra-Hotep, what I call forgery, with just an empty hand across a clenched fist with nothing in it, it makes no sense. That's like a person going to a formal event without their attire. It's like, ladies, if you go to an event, you don't just go, you wear what? Earrings, accessories, right? Jewelry. That has to be done here. He has to be shown with the crook and the flail. He has to be shown with the beard. And something interesting here. You notice his color, right? Yes. But notice the black nose. There's nothing natural about this. Somebody's been doing something to the nose to give it such a strange appearance. It's strange. It's unusual here. It's not knocked off, but it's just something strange about it. Kind of a reddish face, reddish brown with a black nose. I don't have any problem with black, but it's just unnatural right here. You know, it's just very unnatural. So we have to raise questions about this, and then it's always a good idea to try to find the original photographs to get us some kind of insight as to how it may have looked. But people who rob tombs would usually take items of value. That's why there's nothing in his hand here. Notice this one here behind us. This is a statue. This is Ramses II. I'm sorry. This is Amenhotep III. It's probably the same person that's actually behind us, and we can only make that determination by stylistic grounds. We don't really know who it is, but it may be Amenhotep III. Notice the way he looks. Notice his pleasant smile. And you notice the mouth structure is very similar to the one that we looked at behind us. So based on the face, the look, based on the crown, this is how we kind of can make an estimate of who it may be. And this is Amenhotep III, and this would have been very beautiful and a huge statue. Notice the couple here. Notice this couple. Notice that they're holding hands. This is a typical image. Notice his sandals, by the way. So if you get a close look, notice his sandals. She may also have on sandals, but notice the affection between men and women. Their noses are a little bit darker than the white limestone because somebody made some changes. There's nothing natural about that, folks. Only at the nose is it darker. There's nothing natural about that. Somebody did something after they were discovered. So you always have to wonder about who did that and how much time did they spend changing the look. And if we could examine that behind glass, we could really take a really close look. But I can tell you they've made some changes underneath the nose near the nostril. That's what they've done with these statues. So you have to kind of be careful. Yes. This is an unidentified king here. And notice the crown of the north. This is an interesting image here, right? What did you say? This hole would have been the cobra. This would have been the head of the cobra. This is the body. This would have been the head. It's gone. Somebody probably took it. Well, they did take it, no doubt. And so what you find here is somebody made some changes. See, the nose is not really knocked off. The nose has been altered. This is sandstone. Sandstone is very hard. Sandstone just doesn't fall apart. So there's nothing natural about somebody trying to lift his nose up to make it look more aquiline or more European. So understand that this is a pattern here that exists. And some are more obvious than others, but when you look at the broad pattern, then you can see it. Like when we go back, I'll show you a statue that has a false nose on it, and it's very obvious.